Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak, Wadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach sound doctrine, and a strong shalom to the hopeful elect. Real quick, this is a quick land back to the elder apostle Rachak, being locked in more than ever. And that's absolutely right, man. It's the times we're coming into, especially right now, you know, literally less than 72 hours away from the Passover, really less than 48, continuing to examine ourselves. But I wanted to bring out that precept because, this is something that we want to do with sincerity and a clear mind, making sure that we recognize the significance of the Passover from a historical standpoint, but also recognize that this is officially the new year, not according to Esau's calendar, but to how the Lord is running things. And the closer we get to the end, the more vicious Esau attack is going to get, pursuing a prophecy, that great wrath is going to intensify. It's going to look like from a carnal and from a faithless perspective that Esau is going to win and that the masses are going to have no choice but to subject themselves to the will of this devil. But we know through faith and through prophecy that while he is eating, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to ruin his plans, roughly paraphrasing. So these are all things that we have to keep in mind as we keep the Passover, because we are waiting on that second exodus from Egypt, which is spiritually here. The first one happened in actual Egypt, but now we're praying that the Lord keeps us safe from the destruction that's coming to spiritual Egypt and spiritual Sodom, which is America the Great. So without further ado, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse, I'll go straight to the point. Read this in your spare time in Exodus, the 12th chapter. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 27. It says, "Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body." Right? Because this is a solemn assembly. This is to commemorate the Lord delivering us out of Egypt, out of the hands of Pharaoh. And Yahweh Shai was crucified around the Passover. And I went to the etymology of that word worthy. It says having merit. And then it starts to go into different examples of our forefathers. Person of merit. It says famous men of history and legend. Joshua, David, Judas Maccabees. The other ones don't matter, but you get the point. So if we can actually take it a step further. Unworthy, lacking in excellence or value, not meritorious, undeserving. So if you eat of this undeserving, the Lord is going to judge you. Now, take that with a grain of salt. Don't be over righteous. But you should know if your spirit ain't right. If you ain't been doing the right things, you haven't been in your right mind spiritually, and been fellowshipping with brothers, you haven't been making your call in an election short, and maybe you should hold off on rehearsing the righteous acts in the form of participating in the Passover. It's a serious thing. If you're not willing to commit, get all the leaven out of your house and rehearse this to the best of your ability, then don't partake in it. A lot of people are zealous, especially newcomers. I was guilty of it myself at one point. But The whole point of this lesson, I don't want to go on a tangent. I don't want to make this longer than it has to be. It's just to understand the severity and that word unworthy, the base worthy, root word rather being worthy goes into merit. And the names that were mentioned in the etymology, those were definitely men of the Lord. And despite being in this flesh, they serve the Lord to the best of their ability. And we read Romans 15:4, and those are faith boosters when we look at examples like our forefather, the Apostle Paul being beat, 39 stripes, save one, suffering shipwreck, imprisonment, all for the Lord. That's a certain level of zeal and dedication that the Lord looks for, but also a humble and a contrite spirit as well. That's a winning combination when it comes to serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. I'm going to this word merit. It says a praiseworthy quality, virtue, character or conduct deserving reward, honor, or esteem. And we're not going to get reward, honor, and esteem on this side. We're, Lord willing, going to be crowned, be joint heirs with Yahweh HaMashiach, like the scriptures say in Romans 8. The qualities or actions that constitute the basis of one's deserts. So, tying that back into that Corinthians, if you eat of this unworthily, if you participate in the Passover, knowing that you haven't been doing the best to rule over your spirit, knowing that you're not truly sincere, because the apostles bring it out every year that this is not just a lamb dinner. It's really time to lock in and focus, because from here on, the house of David is going to continue to be built up, and the people who don't belong are going to continue to be sifted. So these are pivotal holidays. The Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread that follow it is one of the most solemn assembly in Israel. So right now it's time to focus. And, Jake in the world always has a New Year resolution. That shit is bullshit. But point being, this symbolizes us being redeemed from the hand of our enemies during that time. It also represents the actual new year, spring, new life coming to the earth, and more time to examine yourself and determine whether you really are in the faith. Because every year, we hoping it's the last one. And through the Spirit, I hope this one is the last one. Elder Apostle Hardin coined this year that all hopeful prophecies come to pass for nothing. This shit is getting real. We have to keep the end goal in mind and have to make sure we seek the kingdom first. So with that being said, Shalom.